And apparently I was called to be here. Don't you love how the universe works? You start your new year off with the intention of showing up, letting Spirit use you, being present to whatever comes your way. And then on Saturday night, you get a call from one of your best friends and spiritual sisters who says, "Hey, I'm sick. Do you want to do the service in the morning?" So here I am. Well, beloveds, it is the new year. And New Year traditions go back to ancient times. 4,000 years ago in Babylon, we find evidence of them celebrating the new year. At that time, it was the first new moon after the spring equinox, and it represented that time of planting the seeds of what was to come. This is a season of rebirth that we are celebrating in this new year. Back then, the celebration was 11 days long. So for those of you who kind of overdid it on New Year's Eve, can you imagine 11 days of that? I think some of us are still recovering. Guilty as charged. It was the Romans who decided that January 1 would be the first day of the new year in an effort to sync up the cycles of the sun and the moon with the calendar. And so January 1 became this time of new beginnings. And that idea of resolutions goes back just that far. That idea of looking at this new year as a way to reset and to decide what's ahead for me this year. Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? It's been carried through the years. And there's many traditions around the globe in celebration of the new year, things that are meant to set your year off on a good note or bring you good luck. In Britain, they have a tradition called the first footing. And what that is they believe it's good luck if a tall, dark-haired man walks through your door first in the new year. And he's supposed to bring with him things like coal and bread and, of course, whiskey. And in Brazil, they eat lentils and believe that that represents wealth and brings prosperity into their year. In China, they make a lot of loud noise to scare off any bad spirits. And in Spain, they eat 12 grapes, one for each month of the year, right at midnight. The Danish eat donuts. I kind of like that tradition. It's the whole idea of coming full circle. It kind of seems arbitrary, doesn't it, that we pick this day, January 1, to start something new. And yet, there's a lot of power in that. We need that invitation and that opportunity to reset, to let go of what came before. Last week, we looked at what we needed to release and what we needed to forgive, how we needed to look at the year that came before, the blessings, the challenges, to allow it to move on so that we could start fresh. You know, the month of January was named by Julius Caesar after the god Janus. And the god Janus had two faces, one that looked forward and one that looked back. And so, as we've taken time to look back and really acknowledge what we have been through in the last year, what everything in our life has brought us to. The fact that you're sitting here right now means that you are incredibly resilient, because being human is not always the easiest thing, is it? Some days it's just hard to show up. But here you are, and that is a testament to your resilience. And with that resilience, you are here today to now look forward, to take a step into what is to come. The author and poet John O'Donohue says, "We are in continuous acts of beginning. Beginning precedes us, created us, and constantly takes us to new levels. More often than not, it knows the journey ahead better than we ever could. Perhaps the art of harvesting the secret riches of our lives is best achieved when we place profound trust in the act of beginning. You know, there's a Buddhist precept that invites us to be mindful of the fact that we are here, and to be mindful of the preciousness of this lifetime and this gift that we've been given of being alive. When you look at all the life forms on this planet, we can see that we have been granted a level of consciousness that comes with so many opportunities. It is a precious blessing to be human on this earth at this time. And it is also an invitation for us to fully acknowledge and embrace that. I have the great honor of knowing a number of courageous people who right now don't know if they are going to be here at the end of this year. And although they have gone through their human emotions, as we all do, they stand in this place of strength and bravery that is incredibly inspiring. For they're not wasting a moment of any day feeling sorry for themselves, but they are living their life to the fullest extent. You know, today is a call to purpose. It is a call to purpose. And resolutions can be powerful. It is always good to look at what you might want to do better, how you want to improve your life. My experience with resolutions is that they often fade around week 2. Maybe, what's the date today? I think I'm already a little shaky. But there's a difference between that and an intention. And our white stone ceremony is about what is our intention. An intention is a declaration of our willingness. It is a declaration of our willingness to step into greater alignment with what Spirit wants for our life. It is a willingness to show up and remember who we are. It is a willingness to express ourselves in a deeper and more powerful way. And there is no other time on the planet or in this country than it is more important for each and every one of us to step up, to answer that call, to listen to that guidance of Spirit, to hear what it is asking of us. And the great thing is that in divine mind, you've already arrived in your magnificence. You are already there. It is just our own minds and our own actions that are catching up to that magnificence sometimes. Today is an opportunity to do that. As Diana mentioned, I do leadership development for Children's Mercy hospitals and the organization. And we talk a lot about the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset is that idea that we come into this earth with certain gifts and abilities, and then there's others that we are lacking, and that we have a limited capacity to learn and grow because of that. But growth mindset is the idea that we are always being invited to grow. We are always expanding and being given opportunities to learn more and be more. It also comes with the idea that when things don't go as we think they should, or when we show up in a way that is less than ideal, that instead of seeing that as a failure, we see that as an opportunity to learn, to understand. It is the universe saying, step up, now you know. Not in a way that is condemning of our actions or spends any time in negativity, but in a way that invites us into a possibility and says, now you know, now you know. You know, the white stone ceremony is about setting an intention. It is about receiving a new name that is an indication of that intention. When we look throughout the Bible, there are many different characters that we see getting new names along their spiritual journey. Two of those people are Abram and Sarai. They made a covenant with God. They came to a place on their spiritual path in which they said, we are ready to step into a greater expression of ourselves. And at that point, and in that covenant, they were renamed Abraham and Sarah. And after that, gave birth to Isaac. Charles Fillmore says Isaac represents new life in Christ consciousness. It is awakening to that indwelling Christ that is in each one of us. It is that spark that brings that alive through our intention. Several days ago, you were given an unopened, precious gift of 525,600 minutes. And yes, that song's going to be in my head now the rest of the day. I won't sing it for you. You don't want that. But we have been given this amazing gift. Now the question is, what are we going to do with it? You know, the idea of the white stones comes from a passage in Revelations. It says, "To everyone who is victorious, I will give some of the manna that has been hidden away in heaven, and I will give to each one a white stone. And on the stone will be engraved a new name that no one understands except the one who receives it." It is an opportunity to say to the living Spirit within us, use me. Use me. Use my gifts. Use the love that lives within me. Use my words. Use my actions. Use my relationships. Let them express what is possible. In ancient times, a white stone also represented freedom. When prisoners were released, when they had served their sentence, they were given a white stone. And as they went along on their journey, they could show that white stone to prove that they were now free. So consider this white stone your permission slip. It is your permission slip to now be or do anything you want. It is your permission slip to let go of any part of you that said, you know what, I'm not creative. I'm not that smart. I don't really deserve that relationship. I'll never get that job. It is your permission slip to let go of any part of you that has limited who you are. And it is your permission slip to now, from this moment forward, be, do, create, dream, challenge, step into whatever is calling you. That's powerful. Can you feel the power in that? The power in not wasting another minute on what isn't, what hasn't been, but taking every single one of those minutes and spending it on what could be. Can you imagine at the end of this year who you could be, what your life could look like if you lived that way? I'm a huge fan of the poet David White. And he says, "You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. Give up all other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn that anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. Let me say that again. That anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. And it is time to stop playing small. It is time to stop playing small, because we have been given this precious gift of being a human being on this earth at this time. And we are not going to take it for granted. We are going to use our gifts to make a difference. We are going to step into the powerful expression of ourselves that we may never have truly believed we could be, but I am telling you today, you can be. You have been given a permission slip. So we're going to take some time in meditation to really tune in to what Spirit is calling us to tune in to what the universe is asking of us, to set our intention for the year. So as you came in, you should have been given a white stone and a pencil. If for any reason you did not get one, would you please raise your hand so our ushers can bring one to you? Looks like we've got one back here, a couple. Oh, okay. So I imagine we'll have some in the bookstore in a couple weeks available. So sorry about that. And for those of you who are listening online, grab a white piece of paper, whatever you have handy. The stone is certainly symbolic, but it is not necessary. So I would like to invite our music team up to lead us into meditation as we open up to the possibility that is calling us.